Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Are Reform UK the new Tories?
I am joining Reform UK.
And that's why I've decided that I'm joining Reform.
After ruining the country once already, Suella Braverman and a few more Conservatives have switched sides to Reform UK in the hopes to ruin it again.
Britain is in decline.
I feel like I've come home. I feel like I've come home. Thank you.
Nigel Farage has naturally allowed these people to enter Reform UK, which is pretty mad since these people are directly responsible for the massive amounts of immigration.
You were immigration minister.
I was.
mean, you were literally in the position where you could have done something
Well, I did.
about immigration.
Susanna.
Yes, you let a lot of people in.
No, wrong.
If we throw in a number of ex-Tory donors into the mix, it seems fair to then ask the question, are Reform UK just pound shop Conservatives?
I expected more from you. Right, that was a really stupid question.
Almost half of Reform UK MPs now have came from the Conservative Party. It's absolutely pathetic.
How can anyone think Reform are a party of change when they only appear to be a care home for old Tories?
Like rats abandon a sinking ship, Suella Braverman and a few of the other Conservatives have decided to jump into the new, shiny ship.
Please welcome to the stage former Home Secretary Suella Braverman.
I have joined this movement to put my shoulder to the wheel to help it. I encourage others to join us too.
Suella says that she's super tired of these woke Conservatives holding the country back. She cites Brexit, the terrible record that the Conservatives have on it, as well as the rising levels of immigration under their governance.
Immigration is out of control. Our public services are on their knees. People don't feel safe. Our youngsters are leaving the country.
Which is absolutely f***ing baffling given that she was actually in governance at the time. Do you know what I mean?
When we had the majority, when we had the power, indeed when we had the duty, the Conservative Party utterly failed to do the right thing for the British people.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do agree with her that the Conservatives managed to ruin the country over a period of 10 years. I don't think she's wrong about that. But I take issue with the fact that she was part of it, right? And now she just wants to be some Reform UK fluffer for Nigel Farage and his donors. Like, come on, man.
She followed, as it were, the Robert Jenrick playbook, which is you come on, you absolutely slag off your old party. They're liars, they've got no spine, they've got no soul, they've got no spirit, they can't be trusted. And you think, yeah, but you were with them for 30 years. It's taken you a while until the lifeboat is right beside you before you jump.
This is a woman who needs to take a look in the mirror, right? She was directly responsible for the enforcement of some of these free speech laws that she's complaining about now. The Tories have been quite critical of her in kind. They put out this passive-aggressive press statement that said that Suella was mentally ill.
You could argue that releasing that statement about Suella Braverman's mental health when she resigned from the party is the very definition of psychodrama. Was that a mistake?
It was a mistake that was sent out in error. It should not have been said at all. And as soon as I found out, I had it retracted.
Which actually makes a lot of sense that she can simultaneously blame the Conservatives for everything wrong with the country, whilst also herself being part of them, but being like, oh no, it wasn't me, I had nothing to do with that.
And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, it's the honour of my life to join your team today.
She isn't the only smiling sycophant to jump ship. We also have Nadhim Zahawi, a guy who backstabbed his own leader after a day of being appointed in his post.
Have you been honest about your tax affairs, Mr. Zahawi?
Sacked from government for failing to come clean about a dispute over his tax bill.
He also had this to say about his current leader, Nigel Farage.
I'm not British born, Mr. Nigel Farage. I am as British as you are. Your comments are offensive and racist. I would be frightened to live in a country run by you. Why the change of heart?
But hey, who needs principles when you've got money, right?
But my friends, today, Britain's broken. And I'm convinced that Britain needs reform.
The Tories' response to this was pretty funny as well. They said that Nadhim Zahawi was basically fishing for knighthoods or honours or whatever, and they turned him down, so that's why he's decided to jump ship.
People have seen the news overnight about the fact he was begging Kemi for a peerage before he decided to leave us. They've heard about the fact that this is someone who said that they've feared a country run by Nigel Farage.
Which, given how f***ing slimy this guy is, I completely believe it.
While Mr Zahawi was appointed to various cabinet positions under 3 different prime ministers, he was simultaneously being investigated by tax authorities, which he didn't declare.
The most transparent and sickening one is probably Robert Jenrick. The guy threw a tantrum because Kemi wouldn't let him be leader.
193,000 people have come here on small boats since 2018.
You were immigration minister.
I was.
mean, you were literally in the position where you could have done something
Well, I did.
about immigration. Yes, you let a lot of people in.
No, wrong.
If you can't beat Kemi Badenoch in a leadership race, you probably shouldn't be a leader. That's without even mentioning that this mediocre sack of gravel was the one who was in charge of immigration during his time in the Conservatives. Jenrick is even dumber than Zahawi and Suella. He got kicked out of the party because they found out what he was up to.
Was this case of pushing him before he jumped?
It wasn't something I wanted to do, it was something that I had to do. I have been hearing from so many people, not just in the Conservative Party, but even people in Reform telling me that Robert was about to defect.
Yeah.
These guys all complain about how immigration is too high, Britain's broken, all of that, and it's like, bro, you were literally in charge of the country, right? All of you guys together, you had collective responsibility of what you did.
It's time for the truth. Britain has been in decline. Britain is in decline.
What the f*** are you talking about? Britain is broken. You are the ones who broke it.
How can anyone trust you when you're part of something, but then you leave it because it's not quite suiting your purposes, and then you join a party where you've dismissed the leader of that party as someone who couldn't run anything?
I don't think Nigel is the bloke that you want to have running your kids' schools or running your local hospital.
Nigel Farage can't even run a five-a-side team, so he's not going to be able to run a country.
And I've said time and again that I want to put Reform out of business. I want to send Nigel Farage back to retirement.
These people make me laugh with how narcissistic and self-obsessed they are. I can just imagine them sat at the desk typing away, being like, I'm going to make my resignation statement, I'm going to defect to Reform UK. It's going to be in all the papers, it's going to be all the news. In reality, no one gives a flying about them, right? Apart from journalists, GBnews watchers, and losers on YouTube who make political videos.
I believe that a better Britain is possible. And because I believe that is possible, today I'm announcing that I resign the Conservative whip.
No doubt more of these parasites will leave their old dying host to a fresh new one. All in all, it just serves to erode the non-existent public trust that people have in politicians in the UK these days.
They're watering down the party. Honestly, that's why I think they're going to bust in. They've had 14 years to change this country, and now they're deflecting to Reform to change the country. They had enough time to do it on themselves.
It's not just their MPs though, they're also stealing the Tories' lunch money. The sweet smell of lobbying funds is no stranger to Nigel Farage and Reform UK.
Does he want anything in return for his money? I promise you, absolutely nothing. Do I speak to him regularly? Maybe once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, but certainly not more than that. And have I promised him anything? Hand on heart, I have not promised him a single thing in return for his donation.
Down-to-earth millionaire and man of the people Nigel Farage has managed to wrangle a few ex-Tory donors to his pint-drinking side.
Make no mistake, the decision of Nick Candy, a self-made billionaire, to defect to Reform, whatever party you're in, that is a very significant piece of news.
Yeah. This Christopher Harborne guy, probably the most notable. He recently donated over £9 million to Reform UK, which is a record-keeping amount for any nerds who keep track out there.
Well, we've just found out that he gave a whopping £9 million to Reform UK in August. That is a record single donation, aside from those who leave their money behind in wills.
You can also probably guess what this guy does in 3 guesses. Go ahead.
He made his money in the aviation fuel, defence and investment and in cryptocurrency industries. And
if you said fossil fuels or cryptocurrencies, you're probably also a jaded loser like I am, and you're also correct.
Before 2019, he gave small amounts of money to the Conservatives, you can see there in the dark blue. But you can see from the launch of the Brexit Party in 2019 that he was giving them millions and millions in total.
Now, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Reform UK's largest donor is like a MAGA type tycoon guy who's interested in crypto and fossil fuels. That's just a given at this point. He's not the only ex-Tory robber baron though who wants to milk the country dry. They also received £200,000 from this JCB chairman guy who is also an ex-Tory donor, which might not sound a lot, but I'm sure it pays for those little made in China flags that they like to wave all the time. Richard Tice himself is also one of its biggest backers. He actually used to own the party until they put it into this weird non-profit shell company. Now it's not really clear who owns it, but I'm assuming he still has something to do with that.
Hitler died 19 years before Nigel was born. There was no relationship. It was an outrageous interview.
To be fair to the guy, you've always got to back yourself, fair enough. Though that said, I think that having a political party be a company kind of defeats the whole purpose. Although it makes sense that they essentially want to turn everyone into wage slaves, right? You may as well get that structure in your party already. Jeremy Hosking is another guy, ex-Tory donor, millions of pounds, now donates to Reform UK. It all follows this very clear template. All these people want that US MAGA-style corruption so that they can plunder what little remains of the UK.
Mr. President, Amazon paid $75 million to make and market this film. It's an exorbitant fee. Many Americans think that this is maybe Jeff Bezos trying to get in good with you, and they would call it an act of corporate corruption. The New York Times.
New York Times are fake news, New York Times.
I would say to sell to the highest bidder, but not even. It's just whichever bidder you have the best relationship with. Look, I'm not saying that corruption doesn't exist in the UK. Of course it does. I am saying that at least it's not a national sport like it is in the US at the moment.
You know, a lot of this stuff is publicly disclosed. He doesn't make any secret of his money making. In some ways, the people that he's squeezing the most out of are his own supporters.
If you have their MPs, their donors, and most of their voter base, are you not just the new Tories as much as you try and claim not to be? I don't know about you, but I'm fed up with this naked fucking opportunism that these people do. Like the fact that they're all just career climbers who want a finger in the pie. They want a piece of that sweet corruption money. I'm fucking sick of it. When will I get my corruption money? Never.
Who do they think was in charge for the 14 years prior to Keir Starmer becoming Prime Minister? Because Jenrick was merely an immigration minister. These people are animated almost exclusively by immigration, and Suella Braverman was Home Secretary.
The fact that people can still stand by Reform UK as they blatantly rebrand into the new Tories is quite sickening to say the least. While I would never tell anyone outright who to vote for, I think you should only really vote for Reform UK if you absolutely loved being in the arse by the Conservatives for the past 10 years and you want some more of that. I don't really know who the best party or Prime Minister would be, but I know that these people who were responsible for the last 10 years of mismanagement aren't the people who's going to fix us. Anyway, what do you think? Like and subscribe, tell me in the comments, are Reform the new Tories? I think so. What do you think?